Welcome again to The Old Principle. I am The Old Principle, and this is lesson number 71. Lincoln never quit. Okay, Lincoln never quit means that he did not 放弃. Okay, who's Lincoln? Well, Lincoln was a very famous American president. 美国的一个很有名的一个总统, Lincoln. So with that, we'll ask Mrs. A if you can join me over here, and we'll let you be the storyteller. This is a most fascinating story. You'll have to listen very closely because there'll be a lot of new words. And so you're going to have, well, today you're going to learn a lot of new words.
That's right.
Okay, here we go.
Lincoln was born into poverty, and he was faced with defeat throughout his life. He could have quit many times, but he didn't. And because he didn't quit, he became one of the greatest presidents in the United States history. 1816, his family was forced out of their home. He then had to work to support them. 1818, his mother died. 1831, he failed in business. 1832, he ran for state legislature and lost. 1832, he also lost his job. He wanted to go to law school, but couldn't get in. 1833, he borrowed some money from a friend to begin a business, and by the end of the year, he was bankrupt. He spent the next 17 years of his life paying off this debt. 1834, he ran for state legislature again and won. 1835, he was engaged to be married, but his sweetheart died and his heart was broken. 1836, he had a total nervous breakdown and was in bed for 6 months. 1838, he sought to become Speaker of the state legislature and was defeated. 1843, he ran for Congress and lost. 1846, he ran for Congress again, and this time he won. He went to Washington and did a good job. 1848, he ran for re-election to Congress and lost. 1849, he sought the job of land officer in his home state and was rejected. 1854, he ran for Senate of the United States and lost. 1856, he sought the vice presidential nomination at his party's national convention and got less than 100 votes. 1858, he ran for U.S. Senate again, and again he lost. 1860, he was elected President of the United States.
Wow, so many bad things happened to him. I said, it's almost incomprehensible that a person would have so many bad things happen to him. And yet he overcame, 他胜过一切, and to become one of the most famous, well, 数一数二, probably either the first or second most famous president in American history.
Yes.
And so today we look at all of the bad things that happened to him, a few good things, but what we will discover here is that we have a saying in English, where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
And which means that if you want something, you can be successful. Right? So, with that, we'll go on here and tell the story, but don't run away because I may have you come back.
Okay.
What we'll do is we'll ask you how many of these things have happened to you. Okay, you can start counting. You won't take too many fingers. Okay. Okay, here we go. Lincoln. There's a picture I got off the internet of Lincoln. Lincoln never quit. 从来没有放弃. Okay, so with that, we start with his birth. Lincoln was born into poverty. 他出生于贫困的家庭. Okay, now going on to the next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, Lincoln was born into poverty and was faced with defeat throughout his life. Okay, faced with, 他就面对失败, defeat in here, 失败, throughout his life. 他人生就是有失败，再来失败. So this is what he faced through his life. Going on to the next. Okay. He could have quit many times. 当然了，他可以很多次可以放弃, but he didn't. And because he didn't quit, he became one of the greatest presidents in United States history. 就是历史上 ，OK， 很有名的一个总统 ，OK。Going on now, and now we're going to look at different stages in his life, the different stages in his life. Starting with 1816, 1816年, his family was forced out of their home. Okay, forced out of their home. We don't know why. 但是他们必须离开他们的老家. Okay, and 因为可能是因为贫困的原因he had to work to support them. 他必须做这个苦工. I remember a story. 他是劈开木材, and he was a very strong person. He was quite tall and very skinny, 很瘦, but very, very strong. I remember stories about how strong he was. Okay, and he had to 为了要维持他家庭父母亲的家庭生活，他自己必须工作。Okay, going on to the next one. 1818. Okay, his mother died. Okay, 他母亲就去世了。Okay, going on to the next one. Now we skip from 1818 to 1831. We've got 13 years. Okay, and what happened? He failed in business. 他做生意失败。做生意失败。Okay, 1831. Okay, 1832. He ran for state legislature and lost. Okay, 州议员他要竞选参与竞选。But what happened? 失败. Okay, he lost in his attempt to participate in the state legislature. Going on. 1832, again, he lost his job. Okay? He lost his job. 失业. I don't know whether it was 炒鱿鱼 or whatever the reason was. He lost his job. Now, he wanted to go to law school. You know what law school is? 法学院,法学院. Okay? He wanted to go to law school. Nowadays, to go to law school is very expensive. Okay? And I imagine, 相对来说呢, relatively speaking, it was probably pretty expensive then. But he couldn't get in. It wasn't a matter of money. They wouldn't let him in. 不让他入学 for some reason. Okay? That was 1832. Going on. 1833, he borrowed some money from a friend to begin a business. Okay? He borrowed money from a friend to begin a business. Okay? From a friend. 就是借一些钱. And by the end of the year, 到年底的时候, he was bankrupt. 他已经破产. This is 1833. Okay? Now, going on, he spent the next 17 years of his life paying off his debt. Okay? Which means for the next 17 years, 再来17年, 他要还债, paying off his debt. Okay? Going on. 1834, he ran for state legislature. Again, 国议会. Okay? He ran for, to run doesn't mean to running like running. 他就参与这个竞选了. Okay? To run for an office means to 参与竞选. So he ran for state, 这个国, okay? And this, it isn't 国议会, 州议会, state, 州议会. Okay? Legislature, okay, 议会, or 议员, 议会, yeah, legislature. And again, this time he won. First time. Success. Finally, a little tiny bit of success. I was so used to saying he lost. He went bankrupt, couldn't get in, lost, mother died, failed in business. But guess what? In 1834, 终于, what? He ran for 参与这个竞选这个州议会 and he won. 获胜. Okay? 获胜. So that was the good news. But the bad news is not far behind. Okay? 1835. He was engaged to get married. To engage to get married means he was 订婚. Okay? 订婚. Okay, he was engaged to get married. But what happened? His sweetheart, his girlfriend, what? His sweetheart, 未婚妻, okay, died. 他就去世了. And his heart was broken. 他的心呢就破碎. Okay, 破碎. Okay, so that was in 1835. So, if all of these bad things happened to you, how would you feel? 你会发生这些事情，你会认为怎么样？其实呢，事实上，这过了 一段时间. He went over some time, and many times he had opportunity to heal, to cope with, 要应付这些事情. Okay, so 1835, you have his 未婚妻, his fiancé. How do you say it? That sounds like French to me. Is that French? Fiancé. Fiancé is 未婚妻. Okay, she died, and he was heartbroken, 心破. So in 1836 now, he had a total nervous breakdown. 精神 okay, 精神完全崩溃了 okay, 精神完全崩溃. What does that mean? That means that you can't function very well. Well, in this case, notice, and he was in bed for 6 months. Can you imagine that? Here you are, all of these bad things have happened to you, and suddenly now you are sick for 6 months. All I could say in Chinese, it was a terrible experience. 相当厉害，很可怕. Okay, so here he was in bed for 6 months. That would be hard. Can you imagine staying in bed for 6 months? I mean, that was terrible. Going on. Next. 1838. Okay. He sought to become Speaker of the State Legislature. Okay. State, 州, 美国有50州. Legislature, 是议会. And the speaker usually is 州议会长, okay? The speaker of the state legislature. 他就是要竞选作为那个 speaker of the state legislature, and he was defeated. Defeated 就落选. So this was 1838. Now remember, we're talking about a person who becomes one of the most famous of all American presidents. In fact, so famous that they have many people have written the story of his life. Many books. Some of the books, it's almost like, book after book after book. All of them just 一套, 好几本. Okay, this was a famous person. Yet, by 1838, still more bad things are happening than good. 这个坏事情超过他的好事情，他落选. Okay, moving on. Okay, 1843, he ran for Congress. Okay, this is 国议会. Okay, Congress. 这国议会还是落选. Okay, this is 1843. Going on. 1846. 终于 he ran for Congress again. 再来参与这个国议会的竞选. This time, 这一次他胜选了. So he actually got the job. Okay? He went to Washington. You know where Washington is? This is 并不是华盛顿州. This is Washington, D.C. 美国的首都. Okay? Washington, D.C. and did a good job. 他做得好，他做得好。And but 到1848年 he ran for re-election 要连任 right re-election 连任做这个议员 and guess what he lost again like how many bad things can happen 我们人生可以发生多少坏事情而我们还有能力胜过1849 he sought the job of land officer. Okay, I'm going to stop here. A land officer. What is a land officer? In the West, okay, in the West, I think it's from Iowa, as I recall. In the West, they had much new land. And a land officer was a 主管 that controlled the land, and some of the land was sold, some of the land was settled on by settlers. You know, what is a settler? A settler is a person that moves to a piece of land. He lives on the piece of land for a while, and then that land becomes his. 免费啊. Okay? So he sought 就是要 to seek the job of land officer in his home state 他自己本人的州 and was rejected. Okay? So 被拒绝的 that was 1849 going on. 1854, he ran for Senate. Okay? 参议员 Okay? 参议员 Okay? Okay, for a senator. He wanted to be a senator. You say senator. Senator. 参议会 Okay? Senate. 参议会 And so he wanted to be a senator. 他是参与这个竞选 of the United States. 这个是国，这不是州，是国参议会 And he lost again. How many times can this happen? Okay, 1856. He sought the vice presidential nomination at his party's national convention. Okay, 党派 party, 党派 okay, 不是晚会 Sometimes we see party as a 晚会 place the party, but no, 党派的国 national 大会 convention 大会 okay, and he got less than 100 votes. Only 100 people 为他投票. What does he want? Vice presidential nomination. 副总统. So this is for 全国的.在党派 in America, what happens is the 党每个党派他们有一个全国大会，他们就选谁要参与这个总统和副总统这个竞选 Okay, so he only got 100 votes. 投票只有 how many? 100个人就为他投票 Going on. Okay, 1858, he ran for U.S. Senate. Okay, 又是那个这个参议会啊，参议竞选失败。Wow. And finally, come down to the last one, 1860, he was elected President of the United States. 他被选做全美国的总统。而且at this time, this was the time of the Civil War. 这个内战 Civil War. And he became very famous and did a very good job. Okay, Mrs. Ash, we're almost out of time, but here's your chance to be a 30-second philosopher. What does it take to be able to overcome all of these types of obstacles?
Courage.
Courage.
Yes.
Okay, so what is courage? 他必须很勇敢的。Okay, and I believe I read in one of the books, 他也有信仰的。That he was a Christian, 他有信仰的。And that his 信仰 and his belief in God helped him overcome all of these bad things. And as we said, he became one of the most famous presidents. Probably only Washington is more famous. And that, of course, depends on who you are to decide. Okay, well, let's see here. We probably need to go down here and take a look how you can write to us. Are bad things happening to you? Bad things happening to you. Maybe bad things are happening to you. Then have courage. And if they are, write to me and tell me about it. Maybe I can solve your problems. Okay, you can take a look at our 网站 www.theoldprinciple.org. Hey, this was a little bit different lesson, but join us next time because we've got another very interesting lesson. Bye-bye.
Bye.